I am Honey Mahogany.
I summon my legendary goddesses!
So obviously, not only are you a RuPaul alum, but you are the first to represent this fair city of San Francisco, correct?
Yes,
It's true,
it's about time. Yes. Well, they weren't waiting until they could find the right person.
All right.
And who, writer, by the way,
Then
here.
Miss Honey Mahogany.
Yeah.
I was actually really shocked that there had never been a drag queen from San Francisco before myself. I mean, there's so much amazing drag here.
Yes.
And I know even from the first season, I remember I hadn't even started doing drag yet, or had barely started doing drag, and there were all these queens auditioning, and I thought, well, one of them is definitely going to get on.
Totally.
But when 4 seasons went by and there wasn't a single San Francisco drag queen,
Shocking.
it was totally shocking.
Absolutely
and
shocking.
So I submitted a tape thinking, you know, it's my time, it's my year, and I guess it was, sort of.
Right. Show 'em, girl.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, what was it like meeting other drag queens from other cities? Could you tell how different was San Francisco from other
Yes,
cities? Or?
totally. Yeah, and of course, there's that famous clip from the show where I say in San Francisco the look isn't as important. Well, the whole phrase was we were talking about drag and the different types of drag and how important the look was in pageants, and I said, well, in San Francisco the look isn't as important as the production, as the performance.
Yes.
That's the most important thing. So
Certainly.
it wasn't really a comment that the look wasn't important.
Well, and
but
that raises a really important point, though, too, that I'm always curious about. When I see Ru, Ru, baby girl, love you, right, all day long. When I see that show, though, I see this kind of, especially after being indoctrinated into San Francisco through the San Francisco drag community, I see this very narrow portion of the spectrum represented.
Yeah.
So what's that all about? How do you feel about that?
Well, you know, I don't like it. I definitely think that what RuPaul's Drag Race has done for drag is amazing. I mean, we went through, when I first started doing drag, I feel like drag was very like, people were like, we're post-gay now, why are you doing it? It's not cool anymore. But I think RuPaul's Drag Race actually brought drag back to the forefront of popular culture, and especially like gay culture. And so I have to give the show tons of credit for doing that. What I will say is that it does in fact show only a very narrow view of what drag is. Because we have such a variety in San Francisco. I mean, there's everyone from pageant girls to the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence to faux queens and even faux kings.
Or bearded queens.
Or bearded queens.
Even burlesque.
Burlesque is very close to drag, I mean,
drag,
especially here in San Francisco.
Yeah, because a lot of times drag means variety. It means like you could even have a straight comedian be on
Well,
drag.
yeah,
It's
definitely.
vaudeville. It's almost like vaudeville.
It is
here.
vaudeville, right. And I got my start actually performing both in burlesque shows and in lesbian drag king shows. That's where I actually first started performing in the Bay Area.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, back in
were
Oakland.
you like attracted to it, or somebody like was it their idea, or?
Well, the first time I did drag, I was actually going to UC Berkeley, so I was in the East Bay, and I was just sort of getting started, and that just happened to be the community that was there. I knew mostly lesbians at the time. Like I feel like I had mostly lesbian friends. I didn't have that many gay boy friends, but so I just started there, and I love it, and I still do Red Hot's Burlesque regularly with Dottie Lux.
Oh, that's
I love that. And you have a regular Monday night show.
I do in the Castro.
Yes.
Yeah. So
The Midnight Sun, yes.
Yeah. So I've moved on down to the Castro now, because I was really kind of a Soma girl for a really long time.
Soma what?
Yeah, my most regular spots were the Stud and Truck. So now I haven't completely left that, because I'm actually tonight I'm going to perform at something at the Stud.
Every Friday night you can see some fabulous
Uh-huh.
skins, and something is almost like an art show. I mean, like what does drag mean to you? Is I know that you're a singer. You know, drag is an art. You're also a performer. What does it mean to you?
Well, drag for me has always been a venue to sort of showcase what I can do. So it was sort of a method, way for me to express myself. But I think it can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Part of, I think, doing drag for me, especially now, going on a national TV show and people knowing that you do drag, I mean, there's no getting away from it. I mean, once you go on RuPaul's Drag Race, good luck being anonymous. I did drag, and I would walk around as a boy, and no one knew who I was, and like no one knew that I did drag necessarily.
You gotta feel like a
At least
little
that's
bit
what
of
I told
Clark Kent,
myself.
Yeah. And now it's even hard as a boy.
Now I go places as a boy, and everyone knows. So
because of the internet, probably there's no way they can hide that.
Right.
Sure.
And so like people I just get shit from people now more so than I did before. Like people I wouldn't necessarily tell. Well, I wouldn't really talk about that stuff with, just because, you know, I don't know them like that, so I wouldn't say like, hey, hi, I'm Alpha and I'm a drag queen, you know. But then I started getting shit for it, and I was like, no, I do drag actually because people like you think I shouldn't. You know what I mean? And that includes family.
Here I am, girl.
That includes family members, like, you know.
Well done.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's ridiculous that we put so much emphasis on gender performance, like in our daily lives. Like if you have a penis, you have to act a certain way. If you have a vagina, you have to act a certain way. And there's no sort of like room to wiggle in between. And heaven forbid you actually go, you know, the full on the other way and start dressing as a woman if you're a man. That's just like the ultimate sin.
I saw this beautiful thing that I shared on Facebook yesterday. It was this gorgeous picture of Iggy Pop in a dress, and it said something about, I'm not ashamed to dress as a woman because I don't find, you know,
a real man has the courage to do it.
And the first time I started doing drag, I actually had a struggle with it because there was a good amount of feminist literature out there that kind of critiqued drag for being women hating and making fun of women.
Well, which I have found to be total and utter bullshit. I have met more feminist drag queens.
Totally. Yes.
San Francisco, thank you very much.
I feel like I'm one of them. Like
my sisters, right?
I know. And drag is a very broad label. I mean, labels don't really mean anything. They're an attempt to categorize people.
Yeah.
Well, it's so much different. And in my world, I didn't realize there was a difference between a trans woman and a drag queen.
Well, right.
And I'm more of a trans woman.
And I mean, and that's another discussion, because for me, like I've had this conversation with our mutual friend Flynn Whitmire, where we were talking about drag, and he said, well, you know, I completely consider myself transgender, and I was like, wait, what? Like,
You said that.
He said that to me, and I said, wait, what? And he said, yeah, like, because I move through the world when I'm doing drag as a transgender woman. People don't know that I'm necessarily a performer or a drag queen. They just see someone who's biologically male dressed as someone who is a woman. And so he felt like he was experiencing the world that way, and I thought, well, you know, that's kind of true in a sense. Like, we do move through the world, drag queens do give up their male privilege when they put on women's clothing. We have to think about things differently. We have to think, you know, we have to call homobiles because we can't, you know, necessarily walk down a scary dark street because, you know, something might happen to us. So like all these different things, I mean, it really kind of plays into, you know, you're making a choice to do drag. It's kind of like an act of rebellion and sort of like stick it to the man and society.
Identity is whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, definitely.
It's so spectacular. So we know that you're an amazing performer. You've got new music coming up, don't you?
I do. I'm so excited.
Yes.
I feel like I've been giving I've been like in the middle of birth for so long. Like it's the longest labor ever.
Don't push till you're ready, baby.
I know, right? It's not gonna. Don't worry, it's not gonna come until it's ready.
And you can't control the child once it's out.
I know.
That's another problem.
I know. So I am coming out with a new album. My first single is going to be a cover that I've done recently. I just finished shooting the music video for it. It's called "Feeling Good." You know, the Simone number. But I have a whole EP coming out, and it's a little different from, I would say, like most of the other music that Drag Race girls are putting out, because it's a lot of soul music actually. And so it has this sort of acoustic feel to it. Like I used a lot of live instruments. And there's even a few tracks that are very like minimal, like just me and a guitar, or you know, just me and a few like a small band. So I'm really excited to release it and get it out there. I think it sounds real good.
It's so exciting, and you're going to perform for us later too, which I'm very excited about.
Excited about that. And I played guitar in your song, "Honey."
Yes.
You were making me like slap the guitar.
I know.
I was like fucking the guitar. You know,
it was so good.
I had to keep up with you.
All that funk guitar on "It's Honey" is right here. With me tonight.
And we'll be posting the links and for all of our artists who are on with us tonight. But there's definitely a link to the video for "It's Honey," which is super spectacular. That came out January, I think it was.
It came out in January.
And you are hot. To me, girl, you are not a drag queen. You are a woman to me.
That if you're a woman, that's the highest
not a diva. You are a woman.
I love that.
Right? Yeah.
It's a special pronunciation. We'll all learn it very soon. I'm sure. That was fantastic. So you've got Honey Mahogany
Mahogany Mondays.
Mahogany Mondays
at the Midnight
on
Sun every Monday. Yeah.
Fabulous.
Lots of M's.
Something tonight. What else is going on? Anything coming up for the holidays?
Well, I'm actually gonna be going and doing a all live show in Salt Lake City. Wow. Which I'm super excited about. And you know, I'm still traveling with Drag Race, going to lots of fabulous cities. I came back from DC, which you're from DC,
That's
right?
my hometown.
So it really has changed your life. It's really
it has. I mean, definitely. I think that anyone who wants to do it should go for it, because it definitely exposes you to a whole new audience of people. It forces you to grow in different ways, and also take a totally different objective look at yourself. So.
Self-discovery.
Honey Mahogany. Woo, and I am Maria Connor, and our new correspondent, fabulous.
Thank you for being my first.
Oh, I'm so honored.
All right, honey. Great. Thank you so much. We'll have to run down to the show later. Okay.